Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, it seems now to be an effective online activist, you have to have a whole toolkit of social media skills and like, I don't know, I see people, everyone has their own approach in that, but there's just objectively things that hack your brain and work more effectively on keeping your attention than others. And it's like, you watch movies and TV and it's really gripping, and then you see certain things like that, maybe lighting techniques or how it's directed, how it's cut and edited, being implemented into like animal rights content, and it's cool, like it's effective and it has its place, but it's not a train I'm getting on. Like I'm not just I don't know, you just see little trends and things coming up and I'm like, should I hop on this train or should I just stick to like what I'm doing? But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the minute, man. I just don't know how effective I am with what I'm doing, to be honest with you. Like
Mm.
people say, here and there occasionally, "Oh, great job! You're such a great voice, and you have such a like good way of speaking for the animals and that." And that's great. Like, and it's not even like that's nothing really to do with it. Like, it's nice that people acknowledge it, but the reason you're doing it is because you're trying your best to be effective for animals, and um, they say that like comparison is the thief of joy, but I think there is a healthy amount of comparison where it's like the other people
Mm.
doing the same thing that I'm doing, how are they doing it and how effective is it? And I've been
Mm.
doing street activism for like years now, and I just think of how effective it is. The numbers, like it's not all about the numbers, but it's about the numbers to some extent, because you gotta
Mm.
use that to assess your impact. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I feel a bit like
Yeah.
disillusioned or something with the impact that I'm having and like
No,
hoping to
no,
have.
no,
And
because there's a difference between the quality of what someone's doing and the ability to grab attention from people who are scrolling through the phones. You know what I mean? And there's
yeah,
I mean, you've seen the bullshit that's out there, not just veganism related, but just content in general. That is just like, what the hell is that? With like 62 million views
yeah,
and
yeah,
things like that. But I was speaking to Mel and Steve a couple of about a month or two back, and
uh-huh.
they said, it's not ideal. This content of like, for instance, one example was conflict in the supermarket, and it's not ideal to be shouting and screaming and having people poke your eyes out with the nails and things like that, which is what happened to
Yeah,
Mel.
I've seen that.
But that was the biggest reach they got, and it I think it was something like 20 or 30,000. I could be wrong, but that's what people want to see, and it's a
Yeah,
shame that you're not doing things that
that's it.
bring conflict to the street, and it's a shame that that doesn't mean it's less valuable or less
Yeah,
having less of an impact. You know what I mean?
and to be honest, I don't want to do that, but to give them their
Mm.
like due credit, neither do they. No one really wants to be
Mm.
doing it. You take it up
Mm.
a notch on the scale of there to Tash Peterson. She doesn't want to be doing that shit either, but she does it because she knows it's effective. It really gets a lot of people listening and thinking, and I can't front
Mm.
on that. Like, I can't because it works. It's just not
Mm.
what I want to do, and in comparison, I consider what I do very tame. Like I have a very strong message, and I show really hardcore footage. Like I edited Dominion to be the most hardcore stuff. So in terms of that, like it's pretty hard hitting to the average person who's never seen it before, comes across it and they're like, "Whoa, there's a dog being skinned alive," and this person has a sign saying like you're being brainwashed and lied to. It's pretty like that's a strong potion if you ask me, but it's just about the way. I could be out there with a megaphone screaming and shouting at people, and that has its place, and that would be. This is the thing, man. If I did that for 5 minutes, I could have some viral content if I wanted, but I don't want to do that. I
Mm.
don't know, and I
Yeah.
question these things often. I'm like, what if I experiment and do this and do that? But it's like you kind of get used to what you do and you're like, should I just stick to what I do or should I branch out and try this and try that? And I've just taken a bit of a back seat because preparing for that speech and doing that speech was like a really big goal and a big deal to me. And after I got it out of the way, I was just like, what should I do next? Should I just go back to doing street activism, or should I try to do like public speaking more, or what? I don't know, but I'm just like in a place where I'm questioning how can I have the most impact and what's the most effective way to give my time and energy, because you give a lot
Mm.
of time and energy to this thing, and yeah, you just want to see the impact that you feel you deserve and that you're like worthy of having. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I just don't think
Yeah, well,
I'm.
mate, the problem lies with attention, doesn't it, man? And it's nothing. And thankfully, everyone's doing something different, and
Mm,
you're doing your approach, which you like you said when you're speaking to someone on the street, and it's deep and it's impactful and all these things. You know, you could change two people out of 20 that you speak to,
uh,
whereas a video that gains attention from something stupid might just be viewed and scrolled past. You know what I mean? So, like you said, man, it's the meaning
mm,
behind it, man, and the impact that you can have, and you're doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's everyone's different, man, and I just
mm.
just don't stop, man, because it's valuable what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, man. I appreciate that a lot. Just having the space to like talk about it is important as well, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like I
Yeah,
want to add
definitely,
some.
man. He's still lonely without, even with the internet, man. He's still lonely, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. How's the week been, man? How's things lately? All good?
I mean, yeah, man, that's just kind of been the thing that's been on my shoulders this past while, like just going from being active to not being active. And I think at times you do need time to reflect and think, but you can have too much of that. You can have too much of anything, and then it gets to the point where you start to feel um there's a good saying or like a notion that action breeds confidence and inaction breeds like doubt, and because I've not
Mm.
been like doing so much and spending time away thinking, yeah, just I think maybe I'm like at a point where I need to do something soon because I'm just like questioning, I think to a healthy extent at this point, but questioning my methods and the impact. And I'm not doubtful, but I'm just aware that maybe if I experimented or did something different, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm still trying to find like what is unique to me and how I can like offer it in a more uh impactful way, I guess. I just wanna see the
Mm.
numbers, man, for animals. Like I just wanna be like awesome, I'm hitting all these numbers and this has to be reaching so many people with a fucking strong animal rights message. Like but
Mm.
it's a balance,
Right,
You can't be too attached to that. Um
no, yeah, man. You've got to think like when it gets like that. I think you've got to say, look, I can name five people now that I've changed. There's probably more. I don't know. I've not
mm,
really thought about it, but there's five people that I can say, right, I've changed their views. One of them has had a kid.
mhm,
The kid's vegan. You know what I mean? For an example, think of the good things. So don't think of like, oh, look at the task ahead. Like, I know that you've changed people, man, and you probably know yourself. You could probably count a number of people that you've changed. Think of them. You know
mhm,
what I mean? And if they change, what's the next 5, 10 years going to do? You know what I mean? It can only be a good thing. It's not like you're gonna, fair enough. People go back and they go back on their morals, but
mhm.
in general, mate, you're having a positive impact, no matter how slowly. You've been doing it what, 6 years, 7 years,
Yeah, but
doing
about
your
that, I mean,
outreach,
I've been
man.
vegan like 8 years and doing activism probably about six if you take off COVID. But yeah.
Yeah, mate. I've been reading Atomic Habits. I know it's like a worldwide popular book, and last night there was a quote that said, I can't remember it specifically, but it said, you sometimes you don't realize the impact that you're going to have. Basically, it's a patience game,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
all of a sudden it'll explode, and
mhm.
you'll be like, "Whoa, okay." All that 6 years of hard work that I've done, not that it's got you nowhere, because it's obviously changing people bit by bit, just like everyone. But you
Mhm.
never know, man. Like something can explode, and all your efforts in the past will
That's true. It's true, man.
just be revealed, man. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a patience game, man, and just keep chipping away. And I know what you
Yeah.
mean, though, man. It can eat away at you when you start thinking, like, there's a lot of time and effort goes into it, man, and just
Yeah.
just
It,
everyone's in the same kind of position.
yeah, yeah, I suppose we all share in that. And that's important to remember as well, that there is a community and there is people, to speak with. That's so important, man, in the
Mm.
vegan space, but in just any spaces, it's so important that we speak to people. I actually don't
Mm.
do that enough. I'm quite a solo dude. Like, I kind of keep to
Yeah,
myself.
you are, man. You are.
Um, but yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good to reach out and talk to you, man.
Mate, I think, yeah, and you, man. If it wasn't for the internet and having this community of people, I think I'd be in jail because I'd just be on my own. And like I've always said this, no, I would. I've always said this, like the people from the past, growing up eating, chips in a pub and having this around you and not having really anyone to speak to, it'd just drive me insane, man. I'd just end up doing something stupid, like I'd end up, it'd just drive you mad. So
Mhm.
thank God for the Instagram and uh, people online that you can just share stupid pictures with. Like, look what I found yesterday in Sainsbury's. Just shit like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
it's good, man. It's good.
It's
But
interesting
mate,
to think
fair
what
play
you'll
for
be
your
doing.
speech, man.
Huh?
Oh, there's a lag, isn't that? I said fair play for your speech, and it's
Yeah, thanks,
things
man.
like that take balls, and it's got to get out there, man. This is why I asked you to come on another chat because it's got to go out there, man. People need to see bits of this, and
Appreciate
and
that.
also, mate, it's the topic. It's the topic, mate. It's the brainwashing topic and the conditioning topic. I haven't seen much of it, and I think it's number one. I think it's the most important thing that not really many people speak about. I know you've got the government argument from the other side that says,
Mhm.
oh, you got the propaganda and all this, but no one looks at it from the other side and says, hang on a bit, this level of brainwashing is beyond measures. It's like it goes back to, like you've said in the speech, to being a little baby and just
Mm.
being fed and you know learn this way of life. It's crazy how like no one actually talks about that. So
Yeah,
like,
it's
how did you obviously you base the whole speech on it, man. The speech is an hour long. How did you get onto that topic, and what made you bring that up and write a speech on it?
Yeah, great question, man. It was really me just coming back to like my roots and my experience with going vegan. So whenever I first became vegan, I quickly found my way to some local people and we did activism. We experimented with different things and that lasted a while and then COVID kind of broke that apart and then people just branched out, started doing their own things. So it was just an opportunity for me to think like if I'm gonna do this just solo, what way do I want to do it? And I wanted it to be true to what resonated with me because I think that in my subjective experience, if that had such a profound impact on me, maybe it can have the same on others. And yeah, like when I heard Gary Yourofsky's speech, it was really just like someone telling me these secrets that had been kept hidden from me my entire life deliberately. That's sort of what it's like. And when I felt like that, I was like, yeah, I have been brainwashed to eat corpses and like pay for insane amounts of exploitation and animal abuse and rights violations and whatever else. And yeah, like how could I have done that without my conscious awareness and permission and consent and everything? The only logical conclusion is that that you're brainwashed into it and that you're lied to, and it's like how orchestrated and how closely connected are all these things. Is it like this big shadow organization like pulling all the strings? I don't really think it's like that, but I just think there's lots of moving parts to mechanisms in society and the way that it all comes together. It typically is rooted in power and control. And with mass populations, strong governments and everything, it's always about feeding them just as much information as you want them to know. Like, you don't want people being too self empowered because when they are, they do things like write speeches to wake other people up and go out into the streets and show people the truth and try and help people. That's the thing, veganism is essentially rooted in wanting to help people understand something you feel they deserve to know. after all. It's not like you want to attack people with this message of justice, and you know, it comes through in all these different ways. Obviously, people have their schisms and whatever. But yeah, for me, like it was just about I just wanted to show people that there's all this stuff that you have not seen objectively. The amount of people I've spoken to and the amount of surprised faces and the people that are like, I've never seen this, I didn't know this. Like it's obvious. It just sort of strengthens my view in that. Thank you for confirming for me that, like myself, you were also oblivious to this. You didn't know about it, yet you've been taught X, Y, and Z. You've been taught all this stuff, but like, don't think about all this stuff. Don't think about like pigs getting their teeth chopped out of their gums or their tails cut off or being gassed or like male chicks in the egg industry being macerated or you know, it just goes on, man. Pick an animal, and here we have an insane example of this shit that people don't really know about. Typically, they're not educated on. That's deliberately omitted out of the syllabus, like you know, and then they weave into it like all these humane lies, and to go to the extent that they do, even like you know, you talk about kids and like old MacDonald and all that, but even at the level of adulthood still it's not something that society is willing to embrace to just be open and honest with like you know I mean, but it's funny, man, because that's maybe here in our society, our culture, it's a bit different. But I was reading something the other day that's it was talking about California, and there's like these open day slaughterhouses where people can go and like pick the living animal out of a bunch, I guess, and have them like slaughtered there and then for them. So there's different levels. That's a whole different level of disconnect. Like there's being disconnected mentally and physically, as in that it's never been a thought in your mind because you've not been educated on it and you've never seen a cow up close or a pig or you don't know anything about them. And then there's the other extreme where it's like you can go to a local small scale slaughterhouse, pick an animal and watch them be dismembered and cut up into bags for you. Like to me they are just branches of the same thing being like on a very deep level uh being conditioned to totally disconnect. One of them is just through uh like being out of sight out of mind, and the other one is being so in view that because you have to consider the introduction and the context of how this is introduced. You know, someone going to a slaughterhouse, one of these like open day slaughterhouses to pick an animal and see them being killed. I mean, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of people, even avid meat eaters and stuff, that would just be like, "That is not for me. I would never. It's
Mm.
too uncomfortable for me." That, but then there's people who I don't know, man. I don't know if it really comes down to DNA and genetic dispositions, where some people are more hardwired to be like like herd mentality. This is just about my species, and some people are just
Mm.
like have a broader sense of like compassion shouldn't stop at the human species sort of thing. But yeah, and then there's going to be a
Mm.
percentage of people, you know, everything that you can say, there's going to be an exception to. So the exception to what I'm saying is with the brainwashing and things, there's just some people that, and I think that they are the minority of people, but there's just some people that don't care. Like they accept the program willingly and they might think on a deep level, yeah, like I have been conditioned with these beliefs and this behavior, but I don't care. Like because I get so much pleasure out of it, it's convenient, it reinforces my sense of identity. I can still be popular with my friend group, all this stuff, and then just people who, yeah, who just are like even smaller percentage people who are just psychos, and uh,
Mm.
you know,
Well, mate,
they would
I
kill
come up.
animals themselves, that sort of shit.
You got the brainwashed in the middle, surely to God, because they're not barbaric and they're not vegan.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you've got the barbaric, and then you got the brain dead that kind of that can fit it. You know, that can gel into the barbaric. But you know,
Mhm.
you've got the thick people who just they're just like, oh, it's just a piece of meat. But it's the ones in the middle, and it's the brainwashed. And I think you mentioned in your speech about like the fact that you'd never even thought about it, and I was the same up until 26 years old.
Hmm. Hmm.
I never thought about it. It didn't even enter my head. Like,
Oh,
how
yeah.
deep is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, how crazy is that? Like, I can still remember my mum introducing me to fucking pork ribs, and that's literally like a cut of someone's rib cage, and I was just curious to taste it. Like, I can remember the only thing I was interested in was tasting it to see what it tasted like, and it still didn't dawn on me like it's a fucking rib cage, like, and
Yeah.
it just gets pretty nasty when you start to like peel back and think about like how unconscious you were. But yeah, it just you're born into this world where you don't hear that narrative ever. What else are you gonna think? Like I get why people think it's weird and stuff, but they just need to get past that quickly and see what's really weird is the comparison um that you can make after you're vegan versus before you're vegan. It's not like when you're not vegan and you've never really thought about it before and you're comparing eating someone's rib cage to those weird vegans who are having like a plant-based burger or something. Like, is that really weird, or is it actually just the sign of moral progress? You know, I've been thinking
Mm.
about that a lot recently, man. People are so hung up on all these years of evolution that's contributed and stuff, and this notion of like we should stick with where we've came from in our history and all this, but it's like also throughout history there has been um moral progress. Like, there's been moral progression, maybe not as a whole species, because there's still obviously so much that happens today that is just so morally bankrupt. Um, but generally speaking, culture to culture, like there is clear, objective signs of moral progress, and people never want to talk about that when they're in the context of eating animals and doing what we do to animals because they're bred for that, and how we evolved from eating animals and all this. And it's like you're still so attached to the past, but like look to the present and then look to the future as well. Like look at all these points of view, and in the present obviously things are changing. Even the fact that we're talking together, like you say, man, the fact like we have this like friendship relationship whatever because of this vegan thing that is a moral evolution in the way I see it, just like human culture and whatever we're doing here on this planet. Like it's clearly a sign of progress. Are you trying to tell me that like going from relying on animals to not relying on animals isn't progress? It's so clear to be
Mm.
seen, but people just hate change. People just hate it, and I don't know. I've just been kind of relishing that this past while. Like, fortunate for vegans, like change is inevitable, and it's just gonna happen. And people have always warred against it and whatever, but
Yeah.
it's here, man, and it's not going away. But I think we need to
Like,
remember that.
yeah, I spoke to Chris on Homeless Romantic and a
Huh.
few times, and I mentioned that like some people will accept that where they are now, or where the world is now, or where they're, where society is now, that is like the be all and end all. So I could, I'd love to just pick a person and
Jeez,
pick an example, but I said to him, like, like women's football was banned till 1970 or something,
it's
and I
crazy.
was like, so in 1971 it was allowed. There could be more to it, but that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
that's the picture of it. And I was like, so would these people on the last day of women's football being banned in 1970 just accept that, or
Hmm.
would they have gone, oh, that's quite wrong? And then the day that it turned legal, or the day that or some
Oh.
law changed, or whatever, they'd have gone, oh no, it's fine now. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that how people really work? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is that how they think?
yeah. Man, some people, yeah, some people will literally be just like bootlickers to the law, and like the day that like animal products are banned and it's illegal, as I say, hypothetically, if it was to happen like that. there would be a portion of people that would just be like, okay, well, now that it's the law, I guess I'll stop. They need like Big Brother to tell them what to do and to,
Yeah,
some people fucking love authority, man. And it's not even about being anti-authority. It's about questioning what that authority is purporting. Like, what's their position? What are they trying to enforce? Um, and it's like, no, you're not going to be the authority on fucking blatant abuse of our brothers and sisters, like these animals.
mm,
We're all earthlings. Like, that's our extended family. And
mm,
it's crazy, man. People just don't see it because it suits them. But let's be honest, deep down, it just suits them right down to the ground. They don't have to like
mm.
get uncomfortable, change. It's all there for them. The dirty work's being done. But it's
Yeah. It
v-
makes you wonder.
uh-huh.
It makes you wonder what else they would accept if those in charge were to, I
Just
don't
roll
know,
it out.
say that it's okay to do other things. It's like
Yeah,
what else
yeah.
would you just willingly accept as being right? Do you know what I mean? And like talking of culture, I've got loads of people with this in the comments, and they've said things like, "Yeah, but it's our culture." Okay, then let me pick another culture. The Vietnamese are skinning dogs alive.
Mm.
Is that
Sadly
right
right.
or wrong?
Yeah,
They will reply with, "That's their culture. That's fine." Okay, then. So I know that's wrong, and you
mm.
know it's wrong, but they're just saying that. Okay, then let me pick
Mm.
another one. It's legal to stone gays to death in certain
Yeah.
countries. Is that right? And they'll go, "Well, that's not right."
Oh well, hold
I
on a
said,
minute.
"Well, that's their culture."
Yeah,
So you've just said that it's you've so in the same like conversation, they've said that it's okay for dogs to get skinned alive.
yeah.
It's not okay for gays to be stoned, but it is okay to gas pigs because of culture. Like,
It's culture, like it's insane, man.
make your mind up.
Like,
You know what I mean? Why is your culture right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
why is
nuts, isn't it?
culture the standard of like what's okay? Like you say, those examples clearly disprove that it's not like a moral. It's not anything for a standard of morality. But cultures come and go, like, and so does everything. Change is the nature of all things. It's okay for cultures to change, and if part of the culture is bloody and violent and backward and discriminatory, like morally progress, like you can still have elements of that culture, surely, without that. If your culture is about sacrificing animals, maybe it could be about sacrificing like a meal or sacrificing something else that isn't literally someone else. There's ways around it, but I don't know. Culture is bullshit, man. Like your culture is bullshit if it's founded on violence and like it's just so it's not credible. Like there's people within that culture. There's gonna be people within that culture that are still gonna reject the aspects of their own culture because of these things. So I don't know. The culture one is just like it's just messy, and it's just like a shield. It's just like a shield to prevent them from having to take personal responsibility because everyone shares in the culture.
Mm,
No one is like the solo upholder of culture. So it's not like you can report to the CEO of culture and be like, "You're the one that needs to change this." It's like shared amongst everybody, and so no one feels obligated to do something about it. But it's just identity, isn't it? Like cult identity. It's
mm.
just I don't know, man. I would
You're
happily
absolutely right,
sacrifice
man.
like culture is just
One of,
it's bizarre.
one of your quotes is, I think this was at the start. I listened to your speech again this morning. It is not the influence of a person's own heart or original nature of purity and innocence that they were born with that says, no, animals shouldn't have rights. It's a person's conditioned mind that objects and has you convinced that it's okay. And yeah, it's a good quote, man. It's like it's there on a plate telling you that you did not decide this.
Yeah,
Someone told you what to do.
yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, man, because it's a great one to riff off. So like when you're born, you know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. And I think there's like some it reminds me of the image of the two kids and one's black and one's white. And I think it's like a Gandhi quote and it says like no one is born being hateful. Like it has to be taught, it has to be learned. I guess it's very similar to that. Um, you're essentially like you're essentially like a new computer with no programs when you're born, and then you get all these programs, and that's how it runs. It runs pretty smoothly there. Um, but yeah, the thing I love about veganism as well, this is true for probably like 99% of vegans, bar the small percentage that were vegan from birth, and it's just an extension of the quote that you brought up, is yeah, like the animal eating, animal using, exploitation is a program that's installed in you before you're even aware of such a thing being being the case. And so you take it to be part of who you are, you identify with it strongly. Your ego feels very threatened whenever it's challenged. But what I love about me and how I became vegan, and I hope a lot of other people feel this way as well, is that I recognize that I chose to embrace veganism and change my beliefs consciously as an adult. You know, I came across this information as an adult with a fully developed brain and assessed it based on the programs that I had previously. And I was like, is this compatible? Um, is this a superior program? And it's just a superior program. But not only that, I chose it. I willingly chose it. It wasn't like planted into my subconscious before I could make a decision. Do I want to accept this program or not? But I can't say that for growing up eating animals. You know, someone else made that decision for me, and people go to the shop and whatever, and they buy this and they sit down and eat this, and they think like, yeah, I chose that, but really that's just like the program, like fulfilling what it was meant to do, taking care of itself. You're just booting up the computer every day, but you're not actually like choosing that. And it's to the point now with the same can be said of veganism. Like now that program's just running in the background for me, but I chose it. I chose to install it. The other one's like a virus. I'm sorry to like use that analogy to such an extent, but it's a good analogy. Like the other one is like a bit of spyware that hides in the background and feeds off all of your innocence and turns it into this like strengthened ego identity of like, I'm this little meat eating, evolved cave person. It's part of my culture, and it's all these just outdated programs, and we just need to evolve the way I see it, and
Mhm.
it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard at all. Just have to reject the
No,
programming that doesn't serve you.
yeah, that's a class way of putting it. The reason I was smiling is because how many times have I heard and you heard, yeah, but something influenced you, something made you. What did you see? Did you watch Game Changers? And it, yeah, you've just been influenced by something or someone. I'm like, hang on a bit, who told me to start eating tofu scramble? You know what I
I've
mean? Like,
never really heard that one before, but
give me an example. Like
it's
they
such a
can't
weak
give me an
argument.
example
Yeah,
of, listen, I came across certain bits of information over the
isn't
course of a couple of
isn't that
years,
how learning
and
in life works? Like, you know what I
exactly,
mean?
I assessed the situation like you've just said. I looked at it and I thought, hang on a bit, that's completely fucked up.
Yeah.
What have I been told?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't add up with the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking. I'm not violent. I'm
Uh-huh.
not barbaric.
Uh-huh.
I'm not heartless. I've got pets. I've got family. I've got friends.
Mhm.
Look around you, man. Like,
Mhm.
who is behaving in this way?
Mhm.
Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm. It's a funny one, man.
It's
As I say, I've never really been hit with that one before, but I mean, you've been influenced what like the whole like people say vegan propaganda and stuff. They don't even realize that that was like came out tongue in cheek and then hijacking it, thinking it's really intellectual. Like, yeah, I'm calling vegan propaganda on this one, and it's like there's no such thing. It's a contradiction. You can't have kind of vegan propaganda. Like, it's bizarre that that joke is missed on so many people. But
yeah. Imagine if it was like racism. Imagine if like most people were racist, and then you were like, oh, "I'm not racist anymore. Why are you not racist?" Oh, you know, I've seen that documentary,
you've
and
been
we're like, "Oh,
influenced, mate. You've been
you've been
influenced.
influenced by
You've been
by
brainwashed
Netflix,
by
man." You know what I mean?
anti-racist propaganda. It sounds so
It's
ridiculous.
madness, isn't it, man?
It sounds so ridiculous. But
It's
here's
just
the
an
thing.
easy get out, and it's an attempt at an easy get out. It's just
It's
it
like
don't add up, man.
it's just a weird angle to come at somebody with who's trying to wake you up. You're like, no, I want to stay asleep. It's you've been like brainwashed. You know, they'll tell us that we've been brainwashed. That's the craziest thing. I've seen that sometimes online, people saying that in the comments, and I'd love to hear someone talk about that a bit more because I don't really see how that's possible when you're an adult and you're making rational decisions. This is the thing, like, you know, I talk about brainwashing and it's like, well, what does it really mean? And for me, it means that you've been taught something that's really malicious and really kind of rooted in evil, and something that, by extension, has some sort of negative outcome, and you believe it to then be true and to be quite like morally neutral. Like you've been brainwashed if you suddenly start to believe violent ideals and you think it's okay. So, like, yes, there is the inverse of what we're talking about here, where you know you could have someone, a fully grown adult, with the ability to think for themselves, and then they could be radicalized. You know, they still made that decision to change. And you might think, well, that pokes a hole in my position, but it doesn't. And the reason that it doesn't is because what is the outcome of changing your views? If you've been radicalized or whatever and you're an adult and you've decided consciously to change, but is the outcome of that creating more hate in the world and violence? And are you going to take the next step? And whereas, you know, people would say that vegans have been brainwashed when we've really just had some critical thought. What's the outcome of that? A better society for you, for me, like a better sense of good, you know, the force of good in the world. Like it is that has someone really been brainwashed if it's a net positive for everybody? You know, it depends what the outcome is of that program, and if it's a good thing, well, like I'm here to brainwash everybody in that regard. But you know, it's
Yeah,
obviously just a weak argument that falls apart quite quickly when you start looking at it. But
I've asked people that before. I don't know if you've done the same. Would the world be a better place or a worse place if more people acted like me or acted like you?
I haven't actually. That's
And,
a great question, man. That's a great question.
yeah, it gets a good response. They say, but
Mm,
you can't really sit there and say that, if I fund an industry that gasses
mm,
how many billion pigs a year, um, they can't really sit there and say that's an okay thing. You know what I mean? So again, this is where this cognitive dissonance comes in, and
mm,
the mental conflict occurs, and they just walk away and go, oh, yeah, but I like meat. You know, it's when you actually put it to that question
mm,
of does this make the world a better place or
mm,
not?
mm.
Because they can't go down the nutritional road and say, yeah, but humans will thrive, because that's been debunked over
Yeah,
and over
yeah.
again. So
I try and stay away from, like, you know, I'll dabble in it if it comes up in subject, but yeah, with health and not so much the environment, but with health, yeah, you can find like peer reviewed like meta analysis and stuff to debunk whatever, but they'll always just come at you with some other study like that's maybe funded, so it's like study for study exchange, and
hmm,
it can be, yeah, to me that's like not my bag at all. People can do that, and I appreciate there is that branch in the movement where people will take the time to go
hmm,
through the research and use it to debunk. But yeah, it just can be this endless study for study. Like the sort of meaning gets lost a little bit. I'm
yeah,
obviously, as you know, just more of a ethics guy, and I think it's better to
hmm,
hatch it out on those grounds because, like you say, unless you're like peak delusional, you can't really argue against that question. Would it be better if everyone lived like me or you? Like, unless someone's just going to be very dishonest. Um, ethics is always like the
hmm,
standard to come back to. But
yeah, 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 yeah,
no, it's interesting to reflect on, man, because it can be fun
right,
coming up with a good like line of questioning and asking people that, that's kind of how I like to think of myself, like someone who's just like documenting the social consciousness of the time that we live in to see what attitudes people reflect now, because hopefully that'll get looked at in the future, and hopefully attitudes will be very different then because of that groundwork that we're laying. Um,
yeah. Matt, another one of your quotes you mentioned about the experiment with was it the string? And you
Solving
said that
hash.
some. Okay, I've got it. So yeah, it was basically, you said that there was an experiment where they had to choose some lines, and some lines were shorter than the others,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's the social conformity, isn't it? So it was
yeah.
like, even though a certain amount of people knew that that line was shorter than that line, they did it on purpose, where they said, "Ah, they're the same size or something."
Yeah, so there was
What was
like
that experiment now?
a group to test how much people conform to the group consensus. So they had different lengths. Some were long, some were short, but there was only like one legitimate test subject per each study group, and so nine of them, say if there was 10, nine of them would deliberately give the wrong answer, and it was to gauge if the one person would conform to the groupthink rather than strive for their own independent thought. Even though they know that that line is shorter than the other one, nine other people are like, it's the same size. Then it sort of has a knock on effect of people thinking maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it's not even that I'm wrong. Maybe it's just I don't want to be seen to be different. I want to be liked by everybody. I want to be popular. I want to fit in. I don't want to rock the boat, so I'm just going to go along and whatever. And yeah, to me, that's in a situation, as I said in the speech, it's in a situation where it's not a matter of like someone losing their life or not. It's just an abstract line, but it can it can be so much more compelling then if there's no instance of like someone losing their life. But that is kind of how uh we grow up eating animals. We're not really taught that it's like someone's losing their life here, and the groupthink thing of like you look around the table, your whole family's eating like literally ripping limbs off a chicken on a plate. I'll take the leg, I'll take the breast, whatever, carving their corpse up with a knife, and you don't see that as wrong. All you see is these happy faces, this family unity, and so yeah, like most people would conform. And I've met people like this, and
Mm.
I'm sure you have, where and I always think it's an incredible thing, where people will say, no, from like a young child, I just knew that eating animals was wrong and I just rejected it. So there will always be people who you cannot like break in that way. That can't be, they're just too pure in their nature. Like the program just isn't strong enough. It doesn't work. And there will always be people who can kind of see through the illusion of like moral neutrality, and they just connect with the animal on such a level at such a young age that it doesn't work. But that's an exception, I guess. Those people aren't that common. But yeah, most people, they'll just conform to whatever everyone else is doing and saying and thinking is right.
Mm.
Because you see, and you also, I've seen some of those videos online of kids like having a bit of an epiphany about eating animals, and the parents are like trying to convince them still that, oh no, you have to eat meat, like, because you know what I mean, for one reason or another. So their kids are having this incredible epiphany that is like so superior to like their family's morality. uh, they'll
Mm.
not embrace it and acknowledge that as like an incredible feat of human like awareness and understanding. They'll try and like
Mm.
drum it out of them further because they want their kid to conform. And
Mm.
it's kind of like when kids go to school, people will teach their kids to be obedient and just do what you're told. Like you hear that so much in school, like do what you're told. Um and you're supposed to obey your teacher and conform and all these things. And yeah, that's what I meant earlier when I was saying about like, is it one big organized conspiracy? I don't really think it is, but there's different aspects of society that drill out your individuality, your sense of like striving for independence, of trusting
Mm.
yourself versus going along with the group think and not having to think. Um,
Mm.
it's just a one big power struggle, the struggle for
Mm.
like self empowerment or to empower the herd mentality. But you have
Mm.
to you have to always try to be a free thinker. We'll always have like
Yeah.
traps that we'll fall into in our thinking and stuff, but it's just a question of if like you take the time. I think a really important thing here as well is that doesn't get said enough in these spaces is taking the time to assess. You know, everyone wants to talk about it, and obviously we're doing that now, but it's important to have time not engaging in debate, not engaging in, um, like dialogue even with people about it, and just reflecting in your own sort of private self, thinking, what do I really think about this? And I think when you have time like that, that can, it doesn't have to be like a dramatic thing that someone's changed their mind because of this external experience. Sometimes people can just think about the information and come to that realization themselves. And I think that if a lot of people did that, it would help, because people are always so ready to engage the ego and argue. And it's like, well, if you just put the gun down and think about like why we're even pointing these things at each other, like we're actually all just wanting the same thing. We're just wanting people to
Mm.
do better. And it just so happens one of
Yeah.
those ways is moving away from eating animals and shit and using animals.
Yeah. It's got to be, man. Now, well worded, man. And talking about the herd mentality, like school kept popping in my head. Like you see it all the time, don't you? Like
Deep
I
as
remember
spirit.
being young, and I remember just like I don't know. I can't really think of a specific example, but like one of them might be somebody says something nasty to someone and everyone laughs,
Mm,
or something like that. Just where like everyone's kind of latched on to something, and I'm there thinking that's wrong. I'm not gonna laugh at that, or I'm not gonna agree with that, or
mm,
and that just shows you how many people. That's just one example. It could have been like a bit of bullying or something like that, and people just go along with it, and just because the cool kid, said something
said
or
something.
whatever, and you see it from a young age, and you're like, it's literally like they're like sheep. People are like just like sheep, and I remember sitting there, like just going off a little bit off topic. I was just sitting there in class looking out the window, and I remember it vividly, and the teacher's talking about algebra, and I remember just looking out the window, and I seen this taxi come past, and I'm just like, this is bullshit, man. Like, I'm sitting here learning about algebra, and I'm looking outside at everyone just getting on with their life, and people working and stuff, and I'm like, this is bullshit, man. I know that this is bullshit. I know that I'm wasting time.
Yeah, yeah,
Just imagine if there was a topic of a subject of veganism in school, and
yeah.
you could take it for your GCSEs, or just
Wow, man.
something
Wow.
to, or
Ethics
any
class.
topic that you can, any topic that you can just put, you can just change and think, how can I make that better, or something like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
instead I'm sitting there learning about algebra, man. Do you know what I mean?
So many school years are filled with shit, man. It's true. Filled with useless information that you're never going to recall. Um, yeah, it's bullshit when you that time could be spent like evolving your understanding to be part of the solution for a better world. But you're just still fed these outdated, like, topics that you're never gonna come back to in your life. It's
It makes you wonder, man. Is it all a system designed to keep people in
definitely,
some
man.
state of.
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm. I've read a book, actually. Just going off topic, I've read a book on. It was called Social Engineering the Masses.
Noam Chomsky.
Uh, I
No.
can't remember the Tavistock Institute, and it was just saying how fucked up the world is, and how
Yeah.
like everyone is just led to believe certain things, and how
Yeah.
the education system is designed to basically cause us more harm than good, and
Mm,
things like that. And it makes you wonder, man.
yeah. Definitely. I think a good word in that space is unlearning. Like,
Yeah,
I just think it's important to be selective, because so much of your early life is founded on not being selective and just being a sponge and absorbing everything to try and make sense of your surroundings and what life is. And it's just through like happenstance that you get like a mixed recipe, but it's not always like the right one. It's not a good blueprint for your morality. It's not a good blueprint for embracing like better social harmony. Um, even like personal fulfillment. Like, as frustrating as activism can be and everything, there's kind of like a selfish aspect to it where you know that you're doing something like good for the world and you get something out of that. I obviously would never wish such a great tragedy to be that like existing just so people can derive some sort of sense of like personal fulfillment. But it just so happens that here we are, and yeah, like a lot of people are like lost in the world, and they just move like from one trend to the next and whatever. But being part of like something that's like a universal movement for the greater good can be so incredible. It can be like world changing literally and obviously is. But
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like something that people can identify with if they could only get past their sort of detail oriented brain where it's like because I think people feel such a threat to their identity, like
Mm.
calling yourself vegan is like this how to lose your friends in 10 days sort of boot camp. Um like calling yourself vegan is
Yeah.
immediately saying like fuck you to my family and everything you taught me. Uh it's like there's so many connotations with it and I don't want to go into this, but even in the vegan space, the word vegan is so fucking convoluted. Uh, and I just thought to myself the other day, you know what? I just believe in life now. Like I just believe in life more than death. And that's kind of
Death. Yeah.
how I operate morally. Like what is like, and I think that's a cool like line of question and maybe to be explored. Like, what's more important to you, life or death? Well, then why? You don't even have to use the word vegan. Like, why are you supporting so much death if you claim to value life so much? So,
Mm.
yeah, but
Yeah.
words obviously matter to an extent, but again, within everything, if something seems to be a problem, I don't know. I think like it could be changed, or maybe it's time for like an evolution or something like that. But it's messed up. I think it's such a weaponized word, isn't it? Veganism. And I hate that, man. I really, really hate that because for the first 2 years or so that I was vegan, I loved the word. Thought it was so cool because it represented like all this awesome, change and positivity and just like a better world and justice and everything. But I don't think those are the first things that people think of when they hear the word vegan, and that's a problem. It's a serious problem. So.
I've started saying anti-vegan. I've started, if someone, I don't know, I'm helping my dad lay bricks and
Uh,
the customer comes out and, do you want a tea? Yeah, I'll have a black coffee, please. Oh, he's vegan. Are you vegan? No, I'm just anti-cruelty. You know what I mean? I just get rid of that word straight away, man. I'm just
mm,
anti-cruelty. You know what I mean? I'm
mm,
pro-life, like you said. You
mm.
got to word it in a different way,
Yeah,
and you've got to kind of, as well, make it not that stigma. People will laugh at, won't they? Oh, you're vegan. You'll have a little laugh,
yeah, yeah,
and I'll say things that I'll say things such as, "Oh, yeah, mate. If you'd have seen what I've seen, I think you'd understand why," or something like that. Something a bit dark, something a bit mysterious, where
yeah,
it's not a joke. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I think that it's important to do this. Whereas, like you said, that word vegan now, it just means, oh, you're a sissy who eats lettuce. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's the way people see it. It's got to be seen in a different light now. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. There's so much. There's so much. Like, yeah, anti-vegan narrative and trying to warp people's sense of what the word means. Um, you know, like even when veganism started blowing up and it was in the media every other week, it was constantly billed as like a diet, as like a food thing, as a trendy thing, like totally misrepresented to the masses deliberately. I believe that that was very deliberate because you're not going to have like mainstream media reporting on veganism every other week talking about a strong animal liberation message, talking about like victims of oppression. They have to make it into um something that it isn't to be palatable and to be like the controversial news story that they want it to be, you know. It
Mm.
reminds me of something that Gary Yourofsky said on the media one time, and the lady was like, you're aware that people are labeling you a terrorist, and he's like, what else are they gonna call me? You know what I mean? They couldn't sleep with themselves at
Mm.
night if they called me a good human being. you know?
Mm.
So it's like
Yeah.
it has to be, I don't know, but you can look at that and you can look at like world, I don't know, was it world, I'm not sure in history, but in Germany um they were selling like news stories of like false information, basically this narrative, it's like, and then even further back, like Trojan horses, like it's deception. It's like it's nothing new. It's just the medium has changed now, and it's on television, and it's so much easier to reach people with information, no matter what type of information it is, and that's
Mm.
like, you know, it's so unrealistic to be like, yeah, there should be this universal authority that filters and checks everything, because everything has like an innate bias. People would accuse us of having a bias of like wanting the world to be a better place. Oh, but you want the world to be a better place, so obviously you're going to say something like that. Do you know what I mean? That's really like, if you were to
Mm.
strip away the detail, is that such a
Mm.
bad thing? But it's, obviously not, but it's so unrealistic to think that we could ever have a world where something like that would be in effect. As,
Mm.
as far as I can say, but as much as I want that to be the case, I just don't think it's
Mm.
realistic. So it's just like this tornado that's spitting out all these different things all the time, and it just has a momentum of its own. And all we
Mm.
can do is try and like be a sense of calm, uh, you know, in the eye of that storm, and try and nail it down to what matters and what people should be talking about. But it's very easy to get like
Mm.
annoyed and frustrated, as if it's not bad enough with what's happening to animals. I never ever would have thought it would be like it is, though. I have to be honest. I never would have thought that there would be people arguing so blatantly in favor of it, and people
Mm.
outwardly being like, I love animal abuse, like I don't care about pigs being gassed, and like serve me up another pork rib. And I think a lot of that is coming from a place of insecurity, and people don't really
Mhm.
say that face to face in real life. A lot of people feel so comfortable hiding behind uh some sort of mask on social media, like it's not even the real picture or something, and I
Yeah.
question, like, what age is this person? This could be some like 16-year-old, you know what I mean, chatting all this crap. Like, I'm really not going to take this person seriously. But
Mm.
it's hard, man. It's really loud. It's really, really loud
Yeah.
online.
Mate, at the end of the day, like you say, these comments and things like that, when it's someone on the internet, the fact that they're on the internet and they're, taking the time to watch videos and they've got a laptop or they're in a home, the chances are these people are not like that. So, if there were people behind like a veil,
Mhm.
and one of them said, I don't give a fuck. I'm violent. I kill this, kill that. Blah blah blah. There might be a chance that they're like that. You know what I mean? But what people forget is people are forgetting that we've knew these people all our life. We know what they're like. We know
Mhm.
they're not heartless. We
Mhm.
know they're not violent.
Mhm.
We know that time that they cried 4 years ago when they got pissed or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So people forget that you know who they are,
Mhm.
and you can't put on this tough image. You
Yeah.
you can't put it on. Do you know what I mean? If I didn't know you,
Yeah.
like I said before, with the 90% of people, 95% of people are good people, and you can't pretend that you're barbaric. You cannot pretend because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You can't. This is just straight facts, man. I've been to a lot of places. I'm sure you have as well. People are not like this.
Yeah.
It's the conditioning and it's the brainwashing that they've had since birth,
Mhm.
and then they kind of need to defend that by saying, "Oh, I don't give a fuck. That's just how it is. It's not how it is, and it's not how you are, man." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think everyone should get together at a festival and pass around a big peace pipe, and sell vegan burgers, and get people to just chill out and not argue, and have some tasty food, and be like, you know what, this isn't so bad, and just like leave the ego at the door, and be like, honestly, man, for all the arguing and stuff, um, I feel like so many of these people just haven't been fed a good vegan meal. Because why would you
Mm.
argue so strongly? Like, I just feel like they're missing such a key component. And, you know, I'm certainly someone who thinks that like you have to talk about animals. Like if you're gonna do like the food thing, like you're a great example of this. You do the food thing, but you also are a strong presence for animals. And if you're some like I'll never really post about food because to me it's like it's not like
Mm,
food blogging and stuff is never something I've like really been drawn to. But
mm,
it is such a key part of it, and I think that if you just shoved a vegan burger in someone's mouth when they were arguing to the hilt about seed oils and the conspiracy that veganism is just this world takeover to weaken humanity and whatever it is, man, all these ridiculous arguments, um that people would be like, actually, this is pretty good, why am I even arguing? This can what I can get this in the supermarket, like why are you even having this conversation? It's just like there's such a loss of perspective. And I'm just not buying that anymore. People use that excuse. Oh, I tried a vegan burger once and it tasted like cardboard or it didn't taste the same. Like, you're so fucking full of shit. Like, vegan food
mm,
is very effortlessly delicious. It's not fucking rocket science. If you're saying something tasted like cardboard, I feel so fucking sorry for you, but not only that, I feel so fucking sorry that an animal has to be forced into a gas chamber because you're too unintelligent to fucking work out how to make a vegan burger. Like, are you serious? Just sit down, try it out, leave your ego at the door, and fucking realize that, like, we are giving you an opportunity here to evolve. Come with us into this better way of life. Like, Jesus,
mm.
it's
Yeah.
it's
I'm
painful.
not slating you. I'm helping you unpeel the fucking layers of the fucking levels of brainwashing that's been hitting us since birth, like over and over and over again, to a point where you can't even understand a percent of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to help you unpeel these fucking layers, man. And mate, I did a massive man curry a few months ago. My dad's a massive meat eater. He came round.
Mm.
He tried it. He loved it. He said, he took 40 quid on the table. He said, I want to buy 10. He took 10 home to eat. He loves it. It's not like it tastes like shit. He loves the
Exactly.
food, man. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then and then he won't have any more. I'll give him you for free. I didn't even want the money. Do you know what I mean? Have him for free. Like, but again, it wakes up. Oh, bacon sandwich. Got to be a bacon
Yeah.
sandwich, man. It's fucking disgusting, man. I had to walk out the house the other day. I had to walk out. It was grim, man. It's just mad. It's nuts, man.
It'd be interesting
Like,
to have
mate, even if someone said to me, even if someone said to me, when I turned vegan, someone said, you can't. Not only have you got the choice of going to the supermarket and having bacon,
mhm,
I've got that choice of having this is not bacon. I can do that. That's a fine switch. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Even if that didn't exist, and
mhm,
like someone said, you've got to eat every time that you go to have a bacon sandwich. If that's your thing on the morning, you've got to have peanut butter on toast. Okay, I'll do that then. I'll do anything
mhm.
apart from chop a fucking little baby pig into pieces. You know what I mean? But the
Yeah.
fact is, we've got these substitutes. Do you know what I mean? We've got them. They're there.
Yeah.
Like, he even likes them, man. Like, he likes these products. You know what I mean?
It just makes you wonder why
It's
they being so like apathetic and lazy. Like, surely your dad knows a thing or two, being obviously you being his son, and he's tasted all this incredible vegan food. I think like I don't know if this is him. I'm just typecasting, but older people tend to
the
be like,
same.
"Oh, I'm just stuck in my ways." Like, I get it and everything, and it makes sense, but I'm just like, I'm not of that generation, and it's like, human beings like fight so hard to show that they're like free and independent, but at every opportunity they act like a machine. They act like they're just limited by their programming and that they can't change when it's like it's just the furthest thing from true. Like, you can upgrade at any point in time. Didn't anyone tell you that? But I don't know. It would be interesting to
Program.
see like maybe like a podcast or even a social experiment. It was just giving me ideas there, um, where you could have a non-vegan guest on with a vegan, but the context is dinner. So it's like, let's have a three-course meal and discuss the ethics of veganism and non-veganism at the same time, and how much would people be willing to argue when they're stuffing their faces with delicious vegan food? Is their argument and their drive to argue in favor of all that cruelty and suffering still going to be as strong? Probably not, and they're probably going to be like
Mm.
a lot more disarmed and a lot more open to it, because you're literally opening their experience of veganism to this point where they're like, this is actually really delicious. um,
Mm.
I think that would
Yeah,
be a cool podcast idea or a cool social experiment. If you
yeah,
put
yeah,
both
yeah.
those things together.
Or you could put the footage in front of them. You know what I mean? Like there's your steak. There's your plant-based steak,
Mm.
and in front of you, I'm gonna put the horrific footage of what happens to cows.
Can you
And
tell
to
me
think that you
which
could have
one
just
is
shelved
really
that. You know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, which one is really worse? You having this cardboard steak, which let's be honest is full of shit because vegan steaks are pretty awesome these days. Um,
Yeah.
or like watching that cow be bolt gunned in the head and trying to break free. You know, it's interesting, but
Yeah, it's a good idea.
it is, man. It is. It'd be cool to do. It'd be cool to do like a street stunt like that. Like set up a little table and try and like ping someone from the public to have a little mini date or something with you, and talk about a mystery subject and how's the food? Oh, did you know it's vegan? Blah blah blah. I think that'd be really cool. Um,
Or, mate, yeah, it's opened up another door now. So, like, you're in the street with a plant-based steak, and you put like a challenge. Can you eat this steak while watching the footage? And then they'll eat it and go, yeah, that was beautiful. And then you go, it was made of fucking pea protein. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
In fact, mate, I'm gonna
Yeah,
make that
man,
happen.
that's
So,
genius. Because don't tell them it's a vegan steak, right? And they think they're being like really
exactly, yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
mate.
Jesus. It's me. Like, to be honest, I don't know if this is surprising to you, but like street activism and stuff isn't really a joy for me. Like, it's nerve-wracking as fuck. And it's very
Mm,
rare that you feel much satisfaction from it.
mm,
Because you're always up against someone typically arguing. Like, yeah, it's nice when you come across someone who doesn't argue and they seem really receptive and stuff. But even then, you're constantly like, yeah, but like, did they go vegan by the end of it, or like, and I know that
mm.
is like the ideal outcome. It's more, I guess, mentally healthy to say like you're just there to pass on what you have to pass on, and it's up to them to do that work. But
Mm.
yeah, it's
But no,
very
mate.
like it can be grueling work at times. It's just give, 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 and
Yeah,
you just wanna see it like do the numbers that you feel like it should be doing. Like some of the stuff that I've had really big numbers on is stuff that I never would have thought it did. I posted a
mm.
5 second clip and didn't even say anything, and it's got like nearly 1 million views. I didn't even like put any
Really?
effort into that clip versus like something I
Mm.
meticulously crafted that didn't do well at all. So
Yeah.
it's really bizarre, and that's kind of frustrating in a way.
Mate, that's the game. That's the game, mate. I've sat there for like 3 hours before creating something, and
Mhm.
it just didn't work. And then I've done something in literally like 7 minutes, and it's got like ten
It's
thousand,
like
or you know, or
huge,
something like
yeah.
that. So
It's crazy. It's
it's a
crazy.
strange world, mate, like you say. But just whatever you do, don't stop, man. Do you know what I mean? Whatever you do, just do not stop, and whatever it you know creates in the future, whatever happens in the future, wherever it leads, is what will happen, man. Um,
I appreciate that a lot,
but
man.
yeah.
I think I needed to
But
hear
now,
that.
mate, to get out there, like you just said, mate, to get out on the streets is nerve wracking. In the same couple of minutes where you said I'm an introvert, so you know what I
Yeah.
mean. It takes balls, man, and not many people are doing it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. I appreciate that a lot, man. Like I'm never quitting or anything, but yeah, I was just a little bit sort of taking a back seat, thinking what's the most effective way I can do this? Do I need to change what I'm doing? Um,
mm,
you know,
yeah,
maybe I do, but yeah, I gotta just think about it and come up with a game plan. But I just want to do it in
hmm
an exciting way where there's a part of it that I'm looking forward to. Um,
mm,
you know, uh,
yeah.
it just it's
What when you say you're not enjoying it, is it just the fact that you've come up against so many idiots, or what is it? Are you
um,
just done it too for too long, or
I g- this is probably not the right way to think about it. But it's that it just doesn't seem to be like far reaching. You know, it doesn't seem to be reaching as much people as I would like it to reach online. There's not like this magic
Mm.
number, but you know, I don't know. I just like it feels like I'm giving a lot of effort to something and it's not really making as much of a difference as I had hoped that it would. Um,
Mm.
but it's just a bit disappointing. But that is where I need to like reassess and adapt and like come
Mm.
up with something because I think it's fair to say at this point what I have been doing um maybe isn't like super effective. Like it's effective to a degree, but like I don't know, man, it's just the numbers. Like I can't square off on those numbers when it's like there's other people doing similar shit to me and the numbers are crazy. And I guess
Mm.
I don't know, it's down to a lot of things, maybe like camera quality, like editing. It's down to a lot of things, but I don't know. It's not healthy like to place all your sense of accomplishment on like the external result you get. Like if you don't get a gold medal for a competition, like you're bummed out. It's kind of natural, but it's that idea that it's who you became in the process of trying to reach that goal, not the title itself. Um, so like
Mm.
doing activism, yeah, it helps keep me like well rounded and focused on I think what's something that's really, really important. And I think that everyone should take a bit of responsibility for like the mess that is like the world and the society that we've all contributed to and try and clean it up. But yeah, I can't lie that there's a part of you that feels redeemed and feels more motivated and excited to do stuff when it's really like popping online, when like things really going off, you're getting a lot of good feedback and everything like that. Like it's super motivating, but when you don't get that all the time, it's like
Mm.
kind of feels like you're barely visible, or that I don't know, like no one would even
Mm.
notice if you slipped away or something.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Nah,
It's
just keep going, man. You know what I mean? It can get you down, man, but keep going and yeah, just work out a way to get more reach. And it's an unfair world, isn't it? Like,
mm,
if I could choose who got the most, you'd be up there in the Premier League, man, of the of activists. You know what I mean? But
appreciate that, man.
yeah, I'm sure it'll come, man. I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you don't know how close you are. I don't know how close I am to like a breakthrough or whatever it is, but yeah, you have the right attitude, man. Just keep chipping away, and
Mm. It's
yeah,
like TikTok, mate. Like it's like on TikTok. I don't want to be on TikTok. I've never been a consumer of TikTok, but
mhm,
I got TikTok because one of the dog meat videos got like 80,000, and I've never got like 80,000 before.
yeah,
But all it was like I think there's 400 comments of just people slating me. But I love that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'll give them a bit back, and
yeah,
it blew up to.
yeah.
I know it hasn't blew up that much, but it's blew up to 80,000. And the point is that 80,000 people have seen that. I don't want to be sitting there arguing with kids about dog meat. Do you know what I mean? But out of that 80,000, man, if one person mentions it to someone and then it
Mhm.
tips them over the edge, you know what I mean? You
That's
don't
it.
know
That
where
is it, man.
it's
Yeah,
going to go, man. So, I don't want to be on TikTok arguing and spending 3 hours on a Monday night. But,
yeah.
but yeah, hopefully it's worked, and yeah, you just need some leverage, man. And
People say that. People say like they've blown up very quickly on TikTok and it's easier. And I'm kind of like the same mentality as you. I don't even have it. And for me, I've seen that as like signifying like this new generation of young people. Like that's their platform. Like I'm 32. I
mm,
still consider myself young, but I'm not like a teenager. And so I always felt like that platform isn't for me. Someone in my age bracket, like it's very much like whatever hyper uh younger people about this and that, and it's a lot of it's just really mindless shit. But I guess then if you're doing
yeah,
something significant on TikTok like talking about animals and veganism, that's going to cut through the noise and the bullshit and have a lot of eyes on it,
mm,
because it's like here comes this person completely disrupting the narrative of what TikTok is. But yeah, there's still something in my mind. I can't
Mm,
force myself to do it. But
mm.
maybe that's something I need to like grow into or something. The idea of me having a TikTok seems really cringe, but you have to be
I think, yeah,
adaptable.
Matt. I think I do think that you need to have a not give a fuck attitude
Mhm.
to because I was the same. I didn't really do what I do now. Like say, I don't know, 2 years ago, I didn't really put so much effort in, and I
Mm,
was a bit like, oh, I don't really want to. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be doing it. But I've realised that that's the way the world's going, and videos have took over, and this is the way I've got to be. And I
yeah,
think if you don't, you kind of get left behind. You know what I mean? I
it's
don't
true.
want to be pretending to chop my dog up in the kitchen. I could think of a million better things to be doing, but if it gets it, it gets it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. What is, yeah, that's
sometimes I want to
interesting.
chop his head off, but most of the time I don't.
Is that kind of like your process then? You're thinking that it's like doing this is an effective way to kind of get the numbers. It's interesting that you use that as an example. I guess when you think about it like that, you can't really argue with it.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's like Mel and Steve said. They said, I don't want to be posting this conflict online, but
Mm,
when it hits a certain amount of thousand views, the point is to get that in front of people's eyes, and people love conflict. And if it takes
yeah,
conflict to, not that they go looking for conflict, but if they come across conflict and it makes good footage, um, unfortunately, that's got to be used as a tool. Um,
yeah,
Yeah, mate. Look, have a think. Have a little break. Have your little break, and get a breather, and just have a look around, see what other people are doing, and before you know it, man, you'll be naked in Sainsbury's, pouring milk all over the floor and shit like that. So,
hilarious, hilarious. Yeah,
but mate,
everything
I'll
is
have to
just
cut off.
this.
I've got a mail course or something
No,
going
it's
on
cool,
in
man.
in
It's cool.
10 minutes, mate. So I'll have to
All good.
shoot. But mate, thanks for the chat, and
You too,
yeah,
man. Hopefully you
keep
got
going,
something
man.
of
Keep
value
going.
out of this. And yeah, I know we probably didn't stick to like the script or whatever with the speech. We did get into it, and hopefully there's some things you can use there. Just let me know. But thanks, man. Honestly, it means a lot, and just having someone to like voice your shit over with, it like helps me think it through a lot. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you, and I'll get back to
Nah,
you about
anytime.
when to come over. Definitely want to
Yeah.
do something like that.
Mate, my pleasure, man. Anytime. Anytime you want another cast, mate, let me know.
Cool.
And yeah, I'll see you when you get here, mate. And I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Sweet. Cheers, Thomas, man. Take it easy. Have a
See
good
you, man.
weekend, man.
Catch you soon.